Hold on tight because the AI landscape just got rocked. For months, we've watched the titans, OpenAI's GPT-4o, Anthropic's Claude 3.7, battle for supremacy. But out of nowhere, a new contender has emerged. One that isn't just challenging the champions, it's crushing them on performance, versatility, and most shockingly, cost. This isn't just an upgrade, it's a paradigm shift. Get ready to witness the rise of Mistral's Medium 3. Just launched, Mistral's Medium 3 is a frontier-class AI model that's sending shockwaves through the industry. We're talking about a model that outperforms GPT-4o and Claude 3.7. Sonnet in critical areas like coding languages, and even complex multimodal tasks. And here's the kicker. It does all this while costing a mere fraction to run. Imagine hitting over 90% of Claude's performance for just 40 cents per million input tokens. That's not a typo. 40 cents. This incredible efficiency means it can run smoothly on just 4 GPUs, making it accessible like never before. This isn't just a powerful model, it's a game changer for businesses. Medium 3 is now powering the Shot Enterprise, offering deep integrations, a privacy-first architecture, and intuitive no-code. AI agents. For the first time, OpenAI has a truly serious competitor, and it's coming straight out of Europe. Mistral's own research blog famously coined the catchphrase, "Medium is the new large," and they are absolutely leaning into that philosophy. Don't let the name Medium fool you. Internally, Mistral refers to this as a frontier-class model for a reason. It delivers performance that lands it squarely in the same league as industry giants, like Anthropic's Claude 3.7 Sonnet, Cohere's Command R+, Meta's Llama 4 Maverick, and even OpenAI's freshly announced GPT-4o. The truly astonishing part? It achieves this on a significantly leaner compute diet. In plain English, you can wedge this powerhouse into a 4 GPU on-prem rig, or spin it up in a cloud VPC and still crank out results that would typically demand far chunkier hardware. This flexibility is monumental for deployment. Now, let's talk about the headline number that made everyone raise an eyebrow. The cost benchmarks. Medium 3 reaches more than 90% of Claude Sonnet's overall benchmark score. Yet Mistral quotes just 40 cents per million input tokens and $2.80 per million output tokens when you hit their API. For comparison, Sonnet is listed at a staggering $3 per million input and $15 per million output. Some of Mistral's own research material even shows an alternative rate card of $2 per million output. So the exact figure might depend on your specific deployment path. But either way, you're staring at something in the neighborhood of an 8 times price cut. That's wild in a market where model bills can blow up faster than GPU stock on launch day. This cost efficiency alone is enough to make any CTO or CFO sit up and take notice. Of course, performance claims always need receipts, and Mistral came armed. On Human Eval and Multilingual, the two coding benchmarks everyone loves to quote, Medium 3 matches or even beats Claude Sonnet and GPT-4o. But it's not just about internal metrics. Third-party human evaluations from Surge Labs show it winning an incredible 82% of coding scenarios against Llama 4 Maverick, and nearly 70% against Cohere Command R+. And it's not just about code either. Add multilingual tasks to the mix, and you get even higher win rates over Llama 4 Maverick, 67% in English, 71% in French, 73% in Spanish, and 65% in Arabic. For multimodal reasoning, impressive numbers like 0.953 on DocVQA, 0.937 on AI2D, and 0.826 on ChartQA pop up. This is incredibly impressive because multimodal capabilities are still where many mid-size models often falter. All that horsepower turns out to be especially handy for STEM workloads. Medium 3 doesn't lock up while chewing on giant math proofs or intricate engineering documents. It compiles code fast enough that development teams in finance, energy, and healthcare have already plugged beta versions into production pipelines. Some of these early testers are even reportedly letting the model pre-train continuously on proprietary data, then fine-tuning in quick bursts when requirements shift. This effectively creates an in-house feedback loop without the headache of starting from scratch every single time. This adapt-as-you-go angle is a core part of Mistral's pitch. Don't pick between black box SaaS fine-tuning or a rigid DIY deployment. Instead, blend both. Money matters too, and Medium 3 isn't only cheap compared to Anthropic's lineup. It also beats DeepSeek V3, which, until now, enjoyed the reputation of being the cost efficiency champion. This allows small teams to kick the tires through the API, then graduate to a self-hosted image when the CFO starts breathing down their neck about data residency or vendor lock-in. Mistral even calls Medium 3 a proprietary model, so no open-source MIT-style license here, but they've kept everything flexible. Throw it in Mistral's platform, light it up on Amazon SageMaker, or wait a few weeks for IBM Watson X, NVIDIA NeM, Azure AI Foundry, and Google Cloud Vertex integrations to go live. Whichever route you choose, the company insists, you'll still be able to slide their weights onto your own GPU stack if you want total control. The under-the-hood strategy is all about hybrid deployments. You can keep inference in a private subnet, slam a low-latency tenant in a public region for burst traffic, or fork the entire thing and run it fully on-prem. And because we're talking about a French firm operating under GDPR and soon the EU AI Act, data governance boxes get ticked pretty aggressively. Audit logs, fine-grained access controls, memory-based personalization, and the ability to unplug from the cloud completely all come baked into the architecture. That's gold for banks, hospitals, and utilities who live and die by regulations. This credibility boost lands at the perfect moment because Medium 3 is already the motor under Le Chat Enterprise. This is the customer-facing layer that Mistral hopes will move it from a cool research shop to an everyday fixture inside big company workflows. Le Chat Enterprise delivers exactly what employees need, from driving deeper understanding to laser-cutting your immersive public speaking programs down to minutes. When you wire it up to Google Drive, Gmail, Calendar, Microsoft SharePoint, OneDrive, or whatever connector they ship next, it does a single-path search across all those silos, then snapshots its sources so compliance knows exactly where each sentence came from. If the file is a 60-page PDF, auto-summary skims the gist, and the model drops links you can audit. The same Medium 3 stack powers a no-code agent builder. Drag a few blocks together, and suddenly, the assistant can pull a contract, update the CRM, and ping legal without anyone writing a single line of code. Because everything sits on Medium 3's cheaper token pricing, finance teams finally get a clean line item instead of 3 overlapping SKUs. Security is non-negotiable. Le Chat Enterprise will run as SaaS in Mistral's own cloud, but you can flip the switch to a single tenant region, a private VPC, or an on-premise rack and keep the data inside your firewall. Access controls are inherited from the source applications, so a board deck locked to the CFO stays locked. Full audit logs ship out for SOC 2 and ISO paperwork, which absolutely matters if you're, say, a French bank living under GDPR and the incoming EU AI Act. That EU angle quietly gives Mistral an edge with customers, who are wary of routing sensitive traffic through US clouds or Chinese open-weight models. While Medium 3 and Le Chat Enterprise grab the headlines, Mistral's catalog is getting crowded in the best way possible. There's Mistral Large 2, their GPT-4 class flagship, Pixtral Large for images and documents, CodeStroll for pure code generation, the tiny Mistral Edge models that squeeze onto phones, and the Arabic-focused Mistral Saba. Just this March, they even shipped Mistral OCR, an API that turns any PDF into plain text, so Medium 3 can actually read the stuff legal still prints. Some models are wide open under Apache 2.0, while the newest higher-end weights, including Medium 3, stay proprietary. This allows Mistral to lock down licensed content and offer paid SLAs. This two-track approach is how they square their original openness slogan with the realities of enterprise contracts. If the roadmap feels impatient, just look at the cap table. Since June 2023, the company has raised about $1 billion euros, including a $112 million seed round that was Europe's largest on record, a $415 million Series A led by Andreessen Horowitz, and a $600 million euro mix of equity and debt last summer that parked the valuation at roughly $6 billion. Microsoft even chipped in $15 million and hosts the weights on Azure, while NVIDIA, Cisco, Samsung, and IBM all took smaller slices. On the revenue side, paid API usage and the $14.99 per month Le Chat Pro plan are growing, but insiders still peg annual sales in the low 8 digits. So, scaling fast is existential. Partnerships help, with the French Army press agency AFP letting Le Chat query every story since 1983, shipping giant CMA CGM, and defense startup Helsing all signing up. Even President Macron himself pitched Le Chat on TV last week, telling viewers to download the French app instead of importing ChatGPT. That kind of home field backing doesn't guarantee market share, but it keeps the spotlight bright while Mistral chases the numbers needed for the IPO that CEO Arthur Mensch keeps hinting at. All that context explains why Medium 3 is more than a mid-sized curiosity. It hits the sweet spot between small enough to run on 4 GPUs and smart enough to finish real work. And it does it at roughly 1/8 the cost of Anthropic's Claude Sonnet for the same token count. For dev teams watching cloud bills spike, a 60% benchmark tie with GPT-4 class models for pennies on the dollar is a conversation starter. For risk officers, the EU jurisdiction and on-premise option tick political and regulatory boxes OpenAI can't check yet. Looking ahead, the company is openly teasing a large release. If Medium is already closing the gap with open-weight flagships like Llama 4 Maverick, a true Mistral Large 3 could yank the high-end leaderboard again. But Mistral's bigger challenge is commercial, not technical. It has to turn brand buzz and government endorsements into sustainable post-gap revenue before acquisition rumors start looking more attractive than the Nasdaq bell. Mensch told reporters at Davos that the startup is not for sale and a public listing is the plan. But those words only hold if revenue catches up to that $6 billion price tag. For now, Medium 3 plus Le Chat Enterprise give them a real shot. If you're tracking inference cost, on-premise compliance, or just need an LLM that speaks French and Arabic as well as English, keep an eye on the Google Cloud Marketplace listing that went live yesterday, with Azure AI and AWS Bedrock slots coming next. And if you've already tried the publicly available Le Chat web app, remember, the model behind the curtain now writes code, summarizes PDFs, and cross-references your SharePoint without launching a dozen plugins or draining your GPU budget. Whether that's enough to vault Mistral into the same usage tier as OpenAI is the billionaire question. But at least now, they're swinging with heavyweight gloves. Thanks for watching. What do you think about Mistral's bold move? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of AI. Catch you in the next one.